All right, y'all. April 10th, getting closer and closer to that tax day. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to be the one to bear bad news, but you get yourself right if you're not right. Ladies and gentlemen, that's Montel Allen right there. How you doing, brother?
Man, I'm good. I'm blessed as usual, man. I'm one of the
Okay.
ones that ain't right. so
I'm gonna,
so
I'm gonna leave that
you
alone
know,
right there. We're not gonna get
one
into
of the
too
ones that
much
ain't right just
detail.
yet. I still got to get
Yeah,
to the tax man. I'm still collecting. I'm still collecting them W-2s, man. So
man.
I can't.
I ain't gonna say I ain't gonna get in your business. I ain't gonna get in your business
Yeah,
because this may be one of them interesting years that who knows. We don't know what's happening. Every day is a new day.
man.
Every day is a new
You know,
God. Listen, we see people
you know.
jumping in. We see the OGs, the originals jumping in. So we official. We gonna go and get started. Um, we you and I are not gonna talk too much, but I tell you what, I want you to introduce the brother we got behind the scenes. He's already been on the show a couple of times, but kind of the reason why that this gentleman is here, if you don't mind, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I want to bring on a really good friend of mine, brother from back in the day, brother now, brother forever, James Holland, doctor, or I should say psychiatrist James Holland. I mean, I'm sure he's working on his doctoral now. He works with a lot of people in the mental health stage and in the behavior stage. So we brought him on to kind of help us dissect the situation with Carmelo Anthony and the twins and the incident they had in Frisco, Texas, a couple of weeks, 2 weeks ago now going on. And before we even get started, man, I gotta apologize because I jumped to a lot of conclusions with the stories that were given us
Mm.
about Carmelo, and it seems like since then, since a week ago, shouldn't be. It's not 2 weeks, but since a week ago, all these things have came out. That's kind of I wouldn't say curb my idea, but definitely I have a different ideology about the thing. I don't believe in anyone dying or anyone committing the act he did, but I do defend him defending himself. If that makes sense.
I
I
like
do
that.
commend him
Defend
defending
him,
himself.
defending himself. Yeah.
Yeah, I defend him defending himself, but I don't like the outcome that came about with it. With him having to pull a knife out and unfortunately taking someone's life. So I guess we're gonna dissect all this and kind of get a better feel where we're from. Please bring my brother, man, James Holland out so he can kind of give us some perspective on what's going on and how
Yeah.
this all works.
James, hold on. First of all, brother, you all right? I heard you. Did you fall out the chair just now? Good. I heard all
No,
this.
no,
But
that
no,
wasn't
no. I
things
want to
going
give
on
you
in
a
the house,
minute
but
before we brought you
how
on
y'all
camera.
doing today, man?
Okay.
Man, we're good.
I
We're
see.
blessed, man.
I put your
That's
business out
right.
there.
And let me clarify a little bit. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I'm working on the
Oh,
doctorate, my brother, but appreciate it.
okay. There you go. Get me right. Make sure you
Mm.
get me
That's right.
right, because
That's right.
I don't know what I'm talking about.
But hey, but that's a feat in and of itself. So I mean,
Yeah.
shouts out and kudos and all the good stuff for that. Right, going through all of the effort to do that thing, and it's good to
Appreciate it.
see. I'll just say it's good to see some brothers out there getting them extra syllables at the end of their names, right? At the end of their business cards, all
Man,
that stuff. So congratulations on that. Um,
thank you. Like Montel said, man, we like brothers. He know the struggle and things he went through just even to get there at times when he was he had my back to keep me going, or else I would have
Yeah.
stopped multiple times. So I appreciate it.
love it, love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I tell you, so let's get it. I mean, because we want to be cognizant of everybody's time. We've already talked about this, right? The Carmelo Anthony situation, the students at the Frisco track and field meet. Carmelo was sitting on, and I'll recap it for everyone who hasn't seen it. Carmelo was sitting underneath the tent where the track athletes were sitting. There was a confrontation between someone, which was so one of the twin brothers and Carmelo. They got to yelling at each other. They got to confronting each other. Altercation ensued. Carmelo pulled a knife out, killed one of the brothers, and that's unfortunate in and of itself. And then another part that's unfortunate of that is the brother died in his other brother's arms. So just the mental aspect of that, I've been on that ever since. So obviously the whole incident and the fact that someone lost their life, but again, I have those domino effects, and Montel knows I think about that stuff a lot. Um, but it's interesting that immediately when we got done with last week's show, a lot more information, just things started coming out on
Hmm.
both sides of the equation. Like, man, what's really going on? So let's start there. James, talk to us about the story from your perspective. working with people, working with from a mental capacity as well. Let's just dive into it, man. And folks in the audience, if you got questions, obviously put a Q in there and we'll bring it up. But just talk to, as you look at this story from a 35,000 foot level. What are you seeing from a clinical perspective, if that makes sense?
Man, it's a whole lot to it because, like you said, just the trauma of seeing what happened and what went on. Cool. That opens up a whole lot of different areas. For the brother having like holding his brother and feeling that, and then you also got everybody else involved, all the different runners, everybody at the track meet that witnessed everything. So it affects multiple people. Then you add paramedics that came, you add taking them down. That affects so many people that um, in a case, in one single case, somebody that actually commits a crime. And so you really, they want to write a like I work also just to throw it out there too. I work at Pelican Bay State Prison, so I help some of the individuals write a remorse letter, and it's just amazing where they think it's just the family or they think it's just the individual whose life is lost, but there's thousands of people who are feeling remorse or witnessed something or lost a loved one and they go through that. So again, I really throw it out there too. I feel for the family and the loss, but now you take it to another level with the trauma, what this kid and his family is going through. It's been so many different things. Social media is the worst.
That's true. Yeah.
It's death threats. It's man. They can't even go outside their own home, and so he's already guilty until proven innocent. You give somebody $1 million bill, so let's add that to the drum. What you're thinking and what might happen in the case. You're like, okay, so it's $1 million bill. It dropped down to 500,000. How are they looking at me? They call I'm an animal now. He's just saying he was defending himself. We really don't know everything that happened.
Yeah.
But for the mindset,
And
is you get so
I think
upset, you get so mad when you lose someone or
Mm.
in a fight or argument like that. Just the mindset too of having to bring my no to our ranch, right? We played football together. I never brought, let's go to that level, a weapon to one of my meets. So, but again, I'm not in a situation where that county or that state or that city, I felt like, you know what, is so much racism. I need to carry that.
Mm.
mm,
And then I'll take it another step further. So I grew up in Richmond, California, and got up to Humboldt State. And it was certain situations and things, and I'm just going to talk about myself. But I carried Montel No too, and it was a situation, and things just wasn't right, and it wasn't a knife. So I don't know what the kid was going through, what he experienced. It's been times where I got friends. Again, I work at Pelican Bay Prison. I got friends on the staff, and I got friends that's not on the staff. If you put it that way, to where man, I'm out there and I got people that come at to me, and I've been the target of racism throughout my whole life, and I still feel like I'm just trying to prove myself every single day, even though, like you guys heard too, I got a licensed clinical social work, I got a master's in social work. I run my own business with a private practice.
Mm.
I'm also coaching football, and I still feel like every single day I got to keep proving myself over and over and over and over because of things that's happened. Racism is
I,
all around, and it's really sad that this is what's happening to that family.
Yeah. Go ahead,
let's
Montel.
put let's put some more framework, like some more layers to the story that I've heard and that I've done some research and figured out. So the one thing, the judge, they took the death penalty off, so no matter if he's convicted of crime, he won't be sentenced to the death penalty.
Yeah,
That's one thing. I don't know if that's a good or bad. Um, Backtrack, the two gentlemen, the guy, Carmelo and the twins were actually friends before. They were friends. They knew each other. Where they said the spell they didn't ever know each other. They did know each other. I guess their altercation stems from Carmelo was dating a young lady that the twins didn't approve of. And that's where their beef kind of started. This isn't something that just happened one time. This has kind of been escalating all the way because they said the twins used to tease the girl he was dating. I think they said slurs to him. And then now it led up to this, to the point where, he was sitting under the tent and they felt they needed to go, talk to him and tell him to move. When he also had permission to be at the tent, he also was one person that was participating in the track meet and the twins were not participating in the track meet. So there's more layers to this whole story that kind of, it just makes me, for me, putting all the framework together and the pieces together is kind of like, man, wow, okay, where's all this going? And then I don't know if any of you guys have seen the dad's comments of the twins, the father's comments from the twins. He not only does he feel sad that he lost his son life, but he feels very remorseful about Karmelo Anthony in the situation.
Yeah.
He's been very vocal about this is not a racial issue at all. This has nothing to do with race. This had everything to do with a personal conflict that happened, and it basically, in his terms, it just went south real fast. That's that part, and I look at that part. I'm like, wow, if the dad's not reacting with a vengeful attitude, what gives me the right to look at it from a vengeful standpoint as
So
well?
kind of let's go again. You say like psychologically. So then think about history. So some places are even making it to where you can't even teach about what we went through as slaves. So that mentality, that psychology of let's present this case this way to keep people looking at us as animals. I just throw it out there. Because if you hear all of that, you believe what you're seeing, every single black person, then you're gonna be scared of if we portray it that way. How does some individuals, Montel just said that they came and wasn't even a part of it. It's a reason why they got there to kind of confront that kid. That wasn't premeditated for this individual to stab somebody. But isn't that one of the ways you get first degree murder? It got to be premeditated.
I mean, we're looking from the law standpoint. We're going strictly law.
Yeah.
Karmelo's actually innocent of self-defense based on what the law says. You know, he felt that he was in a situation where he was threatened and he was able to defend himself by any means necessary. It's kind of what the law states you're able to do. He did that. But in that same instance, why would Karmelo have a knife at a track meet? Why would he put him? Why would himself be in that situation? And I know you're saying about the racial thing and all that stuff, and I agree with you. Those instances occur, but I want to stick kind of just to the law part of it.
Exactly.
He had a knife there. You know, he told the kid if he pushed him again, this is what's going to happen. Sure. You know, watch what happens. Kid went towards him again, and he pulled his knife out and he stabbed him. Yeah. Karmelo ran after that point. He ran from that point on. He ran, obviously, because he's scared in the whole situation. Now we'll go when the police picked him up. You know, the police said, hey, I got the alleged suspect that stabbed, that assaulted the young man with a deadly weapon. He was like, no, not alleged. I'm the one that did it.
Yeah.
So the non-remorseful part of Karmelo, of his actions, to me scares me, bro. That scares me.
So go back to that mentality and psychology. Like I said, we don't know what he's been through growing up and what he went through to feel like he needed to carry a knife. And again, it's no, I mean, I don't condone that, but he was scared for something. Like you said, he's already been targeted before from both brothers for dating. I'm assuming the person he was dating was not his color, correct?
I don't know. They haven't showed a picture.
Yeah, we haven't seen that. We haven't seen that.
But he's getting targeted. He's getting made fun of. It's just so many times that you could do that to someone before they do respond mentally.
I agree with you, man. But does bullying necessarily constitute someone to the point where they kill somebody? I mean, me and you come from a different era. I'll admit that the first.
And I'll say this.
Okay, so
again,
yeah,
so James, I'll say this, right? Because again, Montel and I had this conversation last week. I mean, why do we have to go to that extreme? Why do we have to go from 0 to 100? Because back in the day, again, we would just meet you in the parking lot, and we'd meet you at the park, and we put the dukes up, and somebody would win, someone would lose. We'd come back next week, and we'd be back on the dance floor or whatever, right? Regardless of who it was.
Yeah,
why did these what changed? What happened?
So the mentality of what you see. So now I got a cell phone at school. Yeah. Somebody get into a fight, he getting beat down, and I'm filming it, and I throw it up on Facebook or TikTok or something, and we making fun of the person. all of a sudden now this person can't walk around the school. People still making fun of them. It's going viral. It's this and that and the other. And then because of bullying, that person take their life.
Wow.
They end up losing themselves.
And I've seen those instances too. But okay. Now we're gonna even go deeper in that one. Okay, so I hear you on that. I hear you 100%. It's on social media. They get embarrassed. They get constantly chastised. They get constantly commented about and all that. To me, it's simple. Turn them damn phone off. Right?
Yeah.
Because the chatter goes away after a while. Are we raising mentally weak young people? Because it ain't an isolated incident where, like you said, where this young man fills out to carry not make sure it happens, and all the social media influence that comes with it. I've seen it where young ladies have done it. They put themselves in this situation. Bunch of young teens do something to the young lady. They put it out there. She kills herself, and that was documented from the young girl that happened in San Jose. She participated in a situation with all these boys. They filmed it. They put it online.
Mm-hmm.
She got constantly chastised, and then she took her life, unfortunately. And I know that's happened more than once scenario in a lot of different situations. But when do we just turn social media off and just go through life? Because those things are going to always happen.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
I don't think we can do that. I think it's too late for that.
Like right now, without this here, we wouldn't even be able to have discussion like this. It's needed.
Well, let me bring this back. I think it's too late for that. I think we've gone past the point of being able to function as a society without this instant access to all this information. We grew up when TV went off at midnight, right? And they played the national anthem and boom, everything was off. There was nothing to do. There was just snow on the TV. You just go to sleep. But now it's a constant news cycle of everything, not just what's happening in your neighborhood, not just what's happening in your state, not just what's happening in your country. I got instant access to everything that's going on in the planet at my fingertips. And I can share that with not just my circle. Again, I'm talking to the choir here, but once you get that dopamine hit, you can't turn that off. That's one that you can't turn off.
But you're talking about more of news than social.
But also, it relates to the situation that you said about, again, the girl and she had that situation, whole bunch of guys or whatever. That's all over the place now. There's that feeling of looking bad and having those types of things. So the peer pressure and all that. We can't revert back. There's got to be a way to leverage and use this technology and use what we have in our society today for more positive good. Now, do we start putting I'm not a regulations guy, but
yes, you are. They should.
Okay, come on. So let's go into that.
Videos are documented. Why aren't we regulating those? Why is X or Twitter so famous? They show all these fights. Why was World Star even famous for showing people fighting and doing all these
that's
things?
the only reason we know World Star. That's you speaking.
That's the only reason why we know World Star. So those things, you're absolutely right. I think they do need to be somehow flagged and say and put out and put those flags out so they don't go out in those situations.
Yeah.
It's too much. You're right. We can't go back, but we can manage and monitor social media so it stops from being that way. But I don't want to go on that. I don't want to go down that road. Let's go back to Mr. Anthony in this situation. I just believe, man, like his no remorse attitude, and I should say attitude, I say feeling, because if he's angry, and I get it, if I've been jumped or these guys have been threatening to jump me and I got him, I'm not gonna feel no remorse either, and I don't like them, they don't like me. Hey, something happened to him. Oh well, I was defending myself. I wasn't the aggressor. They were the aggressor, and I defended myself. I feel him on that, but to have no remorse for life, or maybe he does, I don't know, or at least it hasn't been stated. Man,
but
that's scary.
So I just saw a little what network was that? Freedom Fire. The group that's actually coming out and standing up for him too. They did admit when he was stopped by the police, he did ask how was he doing or what happened to him. He didn't know that he died.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so
but
he was worried about that.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I just I guess this action, man, this is where I'm having a hard time with. Like, we've been in situations. I'll talk to myself. I've been in a situation where I was jumped, but I used my fist, right? I didn't. Never once did it cross my mind of taking out a knife
I
and
agree with
kick
you on
somebody.
that. It's,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the mentality
I
now
want to
is
pick up a stick. You know, I want to pick up a stick or maybe something to get them off me, just to get them off me, not to hurt, not to kill nobody, just just to defend myself in the fight. And I get it, man. I'm on that teeter totter. I'm hearing about the self defense. I do. I know he's a smaller stature young man than those two twins. They were a lot bigger than him. He didn't want to get beat up and he didn't want to get jumped and he didn't want any of those things. So I feel him on that part. I guess I'm just remorseful that somebody had to die in this situation.
that's right.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you on
Mm-hmm.
that one too. I agree right there. Is somebody lost their life. Also, the mentality of maybe songs or music or things that he might have been listening to throughout his life as well. They might have been portraying that's how you protect yourself. That might be ingrained into his mind too. He didn't have I recall when I in high school came home a little late, Pops Pops put his hand on me because I came home late. That's the type
You're
of
gonna learn
mentality.
today, and you're not gonna do it again. Yeah,
No,
right.
not gonna do it again. So I was raised with a really strict family. Um, and not saying he didn't, but it wasn't in my thought process, I would say, to take a knife to attract me.
Yeah, just that part. Talk, James, from your profession, let's
Yeah.
talk about the twin, the aggressor.
Okay.
Like, what is his mentality? Because you work with people that are like that. What is his mentality? Why is his mentality to bully, to pick, to push, to do all these things to someone like Mr. Anthony?
So when people might get upset hear me say this, but when you got a certain privilege, um, I go that route. It's like if I've never been stopped with bullying other people, if I've seen this is what I do to this race, I'm gonna keep doing it until something happened to where again I'm locked down for life. But if it's nothing that happens, I get a slap on the face, or a slap on the hand, or I get told, you know what, that's how we do it, and these people are beneath me. That's what's gonna keep me going. So that's that bully mentality that nobody can do anything to me because I've been getting away with it for so long.
Is that a behavior that's taught from home or just ingrained, in your opinion?
I believe that's a behavior that's taught. Behavior modification. You can use cognitive behavior therapy like behavior modification to change that, but that's taught. For example, take the picture of you might back in the day you saw a 1 year old in a stroller with a white hood on. So you know what I mean by white hood.
Yeah.
So that mentality is ingrained. It's taught. That 1 year old don't know nothing about it. You'll see 3, 4, 5 little kids playing at a park, all different races and colors, and then all of a sudden, the parents look over and see it, and they go grab their kids. It's taught.
And let
So
me
you
interject with
saying,
this, right?
oh,
And
what?
just say geographically, because the three of us, we in California. This situation
Yeah.
happened in Texas.
Man,
It's been funny or not, or true or not, it's been ingrained in us. Don't go to Texas, right? Texas is they, and I've been to Texas a lot. So there's certain places in Texas that I know, but then again, there's certain places that I know to probably not go to. But there's just a different type of mentality in certain places that you do go. Right?
that's true.
I've been New Orleans. I've been on the water in New Orleans. I've been taking a cruise down the river, and I still see some of them old school flags flying.
Yeah, yeah. And again, psychologically,
Yeah.
so I went back in the day. My kids ran what was the Junior Olympics in New Orleans. We drove from California, so we had to go through
Mm.
Texas. Coming back through Texas, I pull up at a gas station. So again, just the mentality of what you see and how it's taught. No other cars in the gas station. Me, my wife, and my kids. I park up close, of course, at the closest
Hmm.
uh, gas station right next to the door. A policeman pulls up right behind me. trying to make me move my car. There's nobody else there. You could have parked anywhere else. My wife, she gets mad. She said, no. And she started, nah, we ain't got to do that. I turn around and I look at her. I said, move the effing car. Just move the car. As soon as I said that, he looked at me and said, good boy. That was a
Wow.
police officer. So that's taught to, that's okay to do in that state.
And that's coming from the mouth of someone, one that's got some artillery on him, has got some things on him, and who
Man.
is quote unquote to protect and to serve. So looking at you
But
and
protect
saying
and
that,
preserve who? That's the
right? But
thing.
so right,
Protect and
looking
serve.
at you and making that statement and being like, I wish you would, recognize who I am. You, right? Again, I don't want to go down a whole different path, but
Okay. I want to go down a different now. So now we're talking about this situation. So, in your opinion, both of you,
yeah,
do you think this somewhat is racially motivated? This situation.
With
I
the
think
court and everything?
I'll let
Huh?
Mr. Holland go first.
You said with the court and everything, how they being
No,
treated?
no, no. I ain't talking about court. I'm just talking about the action. These two kids' altercation with the little bit of background we have. Do you think this was a racially motivated situation that happened, or
Knowing
was it
this,
just two
I would have
kids
to.
that got
I would
into it?
actually have to get a little more information again on the nationality of the girl and a little more history on the two aggressors where unfortunately the brother lost his life. To really say that, but I don't know the individuals. I don't have that right now. But yet it's
Okay.
portraying as people is making it seem like it was racist.
Okay. What about you, James?
I think it started out that way. To be honest with you, I believe that and I think it started off as I'm better than you. And again, this is my opinion. Y'all blast me all you want to, but again, I've been to Texas, and just I'm gonna make a stereotype. I'm thinking that the two brothers on screen right here were feeling themselves. We stars on the football team, right? We jocks. We the big boys. We in the track team. We all listen and all that. We competing at the highest level. We got a whole bunch of testosterone at 17 years old. Somebody that doesn't look like me. This kid right here comes and sits with us. He don't belong here, and he's talking to one of our friends. We don't think he belongs to our friend. This black kid doesn't belong with us in this area. That's how it started. Again, in my opinion, I'm trying to put my third person
Yeah, yeah,
removed,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
again, if I had a crystal ball, I would say that's how it started. These two brothers said this guy right here doesn't belong in our area. One, he's talking to a friend of ours. We don't like that. We gonna go confront him. This kid right here grew up in an area in Frisco, Texas, where I got to protect myself when I walk out of the house. I can't get a gun, or I don't have a gun. I can't carry a bat. Bat's too big. I'm not gonna bring a hammer, but what I can do is I can get a knife. We don't even know what kind of knife it is. Maybe he got a knife out of the kitchen. We don't know.
Mhm.
We haven't seen what it actually was. If it was a blade, what type of a blade it was. I'm thinking maybe just an old kitchen knife. But I'm gonna carry something with me when I go out in these Frisco, Texas streets.
Yeah. Yeah.
And in the moment, whatever happened, altercation escalated, messed around and stabbed him. Man, it's no excuse on both sides. No excuse on both. But
No,
yeah,
no,
long
no,
answer
no, no.
short, to
You
answer
just
your
you
question, I do believe that it was
yeah, yeah.
racially motivated.
You
And
you just put some
I'm just
framework
mainly
around.
sad about the entire thing, man. I just want to let me just put
Yeah,
that out there too.
you just put some framework about it, and I agree. I think I'll be blunt, more blunt. I think it is racially motivated, and certain, like
Yeah.
you said, in some way. It's it's an oppressor, trying to throw down their will on an oppressee, or a bully, right? Trying
That's
Mhm.
to
right.
force somebody to do something that they didn't want to do, or impose their will on this young man. And like I said, I feel, I feel for Carmelo Anthony, because I understand. I do. I understand what he was going through. I understand his feeling. I understand feeling an overwhelming situation where I think I can't defend myself the way I need to, because I think I'm going to get hurt. So I got to defend myself best means I can. And on the other side, from those guys, the only pity, and maybe I'm wrong, and the only pity is I feel that he lost his life based on the information we know. He didn't seem
Yeah,
like he
I
was a
agree with
good
you on that.
kid. You know, it doesn't seem like he was a really good kid as far as, I mean, he was a good kid in grades and he played sports, but, you know, it shows that there was drugs in his system when they did the autopsy. Obviously, everyone says he was the aggressor that witnessed it. It wasn't like he was an innocent kid, like there was just a, you know, happened to be a small argument that blew up. No, the kid was physically and verbally aggressive towards Carmelo, and he came in that situation. I There's just no win in this situation. There's no
Yeah.
even. I don't even see a silver lining in this situation on either side. Both lives, one person lost their life, and one person's in the fight for his life. And
Mm.
Yeah,
in being in Texas, let's be honest and real, he might not get out. We're talking about a person that kills someone every week on death penalty on death row. They average one death a week on death row. They have no pity for people that do crimes, especially people of color that does crimes. And now you're talking about a young African American male, granted, who was a 4.0 student and was doing everything he was doing, killed another white male that was a 4.0 student that's supposedly doing everything he wanted to do. And we already know the law does not favor us at all.
Yeah. Let's pause right here because you know what? We're coming at it from our lens. And
Yep.
rightfully so, right? Because again, we've kind of walked some of these shoes. But John right here, man, this is the truth right here. I think they would have bullied a small white kid from the nerd club just the
Yeah.
same, or a chunky white kid, or a trailer park kid. Not saying again, we don't know the Metcalf boys, but man, I've been able to read books pretty good, and I know personality. I can look at you and say, you know, I don't want to roll with him, but this guy is maybe not someone I want to roll with. These Metcalf boys just look like they again walked around like they owned everything underneath the sun. Again, I don't want to be disparaging or anything like that nature, but I like what John was saying. You know, regardless if you weren't part of the squad, if you weren't on the team, if you weren't on varsity, if you didn't have a Mustang, right? If you weren't someone that we wanted to roll with, we were going to bully you. We were going to pick on you. There was going to be peer pressure. We were going to put you through some heck. And man, it just happened to end up in the most extreme circumstance, 0 to 100. So I thank you, John, for putting that up there, man. I wanted to say that too, because again, we're coming at it from our lens and we have our perspective, but it's good
Yeah.
to see someone say everybody was could have been a victim in this situation.
and I agreed with you too. Just really with a focus of it, man. What other reason was it why they just came up there to try to move him out of the tent?
Yeah, they haven't said anything. They just said he asked the kid to move, and then they got real aggressive
Yeah.
at that point.
Yeah.
And then also too that the first report of an autopsy after 2 days that came out that wasn't true. They didn't have an autopsy that quick.
They could have drawn blood though, right? Blood. They could have drawn blood. Do they do the toxification
The
thing
tox
first
screen,
before
yeah,
they do anything?
they wouldn't have had an autopsy that quick. That even just came out too, with a news
Okay.
conference that they did today of the
Mhm.
people that's helping them with his case.
All right.
Okay.
Let me ask this, and let me take this conversation in a whole different direction. Here I go throwing salt on the wounds and picking at scabs. Man, that's a crazy analogy. I'm sorry. Uh, they're making a lot. They're raising a lot of money for Carmelo Anthony
Mm.
and his family. The GoFundMe or whatever, it's a different branch of it. GiveSendGo started out at 300,000.
Mm-hmm.
They have surpassed that, and they have raised that to now, I believe it's now $450,000. They've raised $333,000 for the family of Carmelo Anthony. The
Pause on that
family
though.
or the legal fees. So here we go. We got a gang of folks that have given 333,550, a lot of money, $333,000.
Mm.
And catching havoc on both sides of this. Cool. Obviously, people are wanting to support, but then on the other side, people are saying, "For real, you didn't send $300,000 to the murderer?"
Yeah. I
Your
mean,
thoughts on
I
this?
heard GoFundMe was talking about refunding everyone their money back because they don't support people that are convicted of capital crimes. I don't know
Yeah.
if that's true or not. I just heard that. Is that
Yeah.
true or?
So man,
You weren't ready for
that
this
give
one.
me
You,
so
you didn't think I
upset
was going to
because
throw
Hey,
this
like
little twist
so
hey,
at you.
James,
Yeah.
James, take me off the camera real quick. I gotta step away for one quick second.
No
Take me off the
worries,
camera.
man. No worries. Go ahead.
so I was about to say that just made me a little upset because so you had a teenager military, the police to a Black Lives Matter rally, shoot a few people, walk right back. Arizona State University in Arizona raised a lot
Mm.
of money. It was no controversy there, right?
I did not hear anything
People
negative
raised
about
money
that. Correct. Yeah.
because he's black.
Half of the stories that I'm reading, and I'm the messenger right now. Wanting to have
That's
this
right.
conversation, right? Because again, this is $333,000 that has been
There you go.
raised for the family during this challenging and difficult time. It's not specifically saying that it's for the defense fund. It's for the family, and he just in jail. Again, not trying to make light of it, but again, that's a gang of money. So I understand if it's for defense, if it's for legal fees, if it's for all of that. But both sides of this conversation are valid.
Well, I
Both
mean,
sides of this conversation are valid, and
I
just wondering where you fit.
if they're valid, but I mean, I agree with James. People raise money all the time for different causes that people don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and is everyone against this because they're raising it for this young man that's trying to do his defense? Yeah, that's for his defense case for him to get proper representation when he goes in front of a judge.
Mm.
Proper representation. We already know public defenders in situations like this probably doesn't work. It might end up drastic for this young man. I mean, if the only silver lining is we can salvage one life out of this whole scenario, and it's this young man's life, why can't we salvage it? Why
Yeah.
can't people send money in?
That's
You know what I
interesting. I
mean?
like that. I like that statement. Hmm. It doesn't bring
Why
any
can't
solace to the family that has lost someone, but that's a very profound statement coming out of you.
I mean,
Go ahead, Montel.
we do
Huh.
it all the time. What's the boy that shot all those people during Black Lives Matter? That met the president. The dude, the kid that took his mama took him to the rally and he started shooting people for no reason. What's that kid's name? I forgot his name.
I don't remember.
Damn. You know what I'm talking about though, right? The kid
I
in
remember. I
Milwaukee. I
just
think it
don't
was
remember the
Milwaukee.
name. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So they raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to make sure he didn't go to jail.
See,
So we're
that's what we
talking
was
about
talking about when you went
situations and
off. That's the
scenarios.
kid that Arizona State University helped raise money for that.
Was that Arizona? Okay, so yes, is that the name? Same kid? I'm not sure, but I'm saying
He was about
that same
17 or
thing.
16.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I just know it was a kid that did it during the Black Lives Matter rally.
Yeah,
He
he
felt he
walked
needed to
right
go out
by
there. Yeah,
military,
yeah.
everybody. His AK.
So they raised all this money for that kid, and no one's had an uproar. But now, because we're raising money, and I'm gonna be real, we're raising money for an African American young male. Now there's an uproar and people saying on the same shit side. Same side. Why are you doing this for a murderer? Well, we did it for him. People gave money to him. Matter of fact, I think he went to one of the inaugurals for Trump and them. He was endorsed by the president and a lot of people back in those situations. Some people even call that dude a hero. So
Hmm.
we have the audacity to raise money for somebody that bluntly murdered people that were peacefully protesting. But yeah, we got a young black boy that was defending himself, and you say we don't have the right to raise money for him without being questioned. I mean, come on, man, that's like a double standard in our society. And we got to point out the obvious. People say it ain't racial, but we have to point out the racial. It's because of different color. A different color, a different person, a different breed, a different people they agree with. The system it's just different, man. You have to point out that there's an obvious thing, and there's a color of skin that's obviously different in both of the. And I know they're two different situations, but overall, the hierarchy is the same situation. We're raising money for him to have a good lawyer and get bail, just like they're raising money for him to get money and get bail. What is the difference?
Okay, so let me ask this. Let me ask this because I want to focus on the comment that had just come in from Marvin. He says, "Where's Sharpton? Right? Where's our Sharp? Obviously, typically when it's headline news and it's a big civil rights racial situation going on, we see some of these. We see a certain number of folks get out there and try to gain the spotlight. Is this not big enough? Why haven't we seen Sharpton or someone of his stature jumping up to the scene and saying, I'm going to work with this family. I want to support this family. I want to do whatever the case may be. What's your thoughts on that?
I have mixed feelings about people in situations like that. Because you can say that what's Ben Crump at? Being the
Yeah,
lawyer,
well,
big
that's
time
who I was
lawyer,
going to
Ben
ask too,
Crump.
right? Because he's
Yeah,
quote unquote
where's
the
he at?
people's lawyer, our lawyer, right? Yeah.
Where's these civil rights activists that are there to defend him? And they don't want to tarnish their brand, right? They don't want to be in that situation. That would be my assumption. I have no idea why they're not there. I'm glad Mr. Anthony's family has been very boisterous
Mm.
about trying to get their son out, and very boisterous about putting out there what an outstanding young man he is, and that this situation unfortunately happened. Again, my biggest pet peeve about the whole thing is I don't see a lot of remorse. And maybe I'm not. This is the time they're gonna be remorseful because they're angry because their son is behind bars in jail, and we already know what happens in jail, right? He's in jail. He's
Yeah,
in
yes,
jail,
sir.
and mind you, he's being tried as an adult. He's not in kitty jail. I don't believe. I think he's in county, probably isolated, but he's in county where there's a bunch of grown ass men,
Mm-hmm.
a grown ass white men
Mm-hmm.
that are in there. So I know they're fearing for their son's situation in their lives. So man, I mean, there's freaking nothing good about this story, man. There's nothing at all good or strong about this story. I mean, it opens old wounds. It's terrible for our society. It's terrible that anyone has to go through this, whether the family mourning or the person trying to defend the son. It kind of tears me apart when we talk about this, man. But I think it's something that has to be addressed for people out there to get our perspective
All
on
right.
what we see about the situation.
Yeah. Jen was saying, appreciate you for being here, Ma. She says Lee Merritt was initially involved and the family asked him to step back.
Oh
So
wow.
that's I hadn't seen that. That's pretty interesting as well. Let me ask James. Let me ask you this, right? Because again, we started going down this path about all right, this young 17-year-old is in prison, not jail right now, but what's going to happen next? So one, I want to talk about the mentality of what's going on with him right now, right? Because all these other angles of the story are coming out, and there's only 2-3 people that really know exactly what happened. The two
Yep.
involved, one's gone, and the Lord, right? Come Monday, his defense team is going to be asking for a reduction in the $1 million bond. He's sitting in jail right now. He's sitting in prison right now. What's going on through Karmelo Anthony's mind right now? Because again, you work with folks in Pelican Bay, so you work with folks that are incarcerated. What's this situation? Because there's such this back and forth of stories and what's really going on and what really happened. He knows what really happened. He's sitting in prison. Like Montel was saying, I got folks in the cell next to me. I got cell mates who are
So
looking at me and wondering what it is that I really do. They just hear what they hear. Why is this young 17-year-old kid in prison? What's happening right now with Karmelo Anthony from a mental perspective?
from mentally, it's all over the place. So you got to worry about him trying to take his life mentally. The depression is going to be there. Anxiety is going to be there. A lot of times when you first get in there, people end up seeing paperwork that they shouldn't see.
Mm.
If man, how can I say this in a way? But if certain staff believe one way, certain things might happen to the individual. If, of course, in prison, people are still separated. You got, I say by gangs and by color and everything, all separated. Now, they also being told and finding out things that's not true that they taking that is true. So he's probably in protected custody, hopefully, or he's been let out in certain areas that's not protected on quote unquote accident. Right now, a whole lot of things is going through his mind. So hopefully he does have somebody there that's a mental health therapist, and he's getting that help to talk to and that support. Because right now, being alone, I'm pretty sure you don't know nobody in there. You never go to prison or jail to make friends, so he don't have too many friends in there. He's by himself.
But do you think that's wise though, with this case, to talk? I mean, me. I mean, again, we come from an old school. Don't talk to nobody. Don't give no information while I'm in this
but
situation, and let me just. I got to sit it out until I talk to a lawyer. I don't know.
yeah, so
I
he's
mean,
not giving it. He's not giving information. So the information is getting out though. That's the problem. That's what's going to keep him scared. That's what's going to keep him nervous. That's what have him where he watched his back the whole time. So if I'm told he went out there, he brought a knife on purpose, and he fought, and he went straight to this person and stabbed him, even that might not even be the true story, but that's what's going through a certain group of people's head, and they might come after him.
Well, I got a question for you. What about the guards? Like, if there's a racist guard or a guard that doesn't particularly like him or like someone like them, how bad can this situation be? Even though this is a kind of a profile story.
The worst you could think. I'll put it that way.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The worst you could think. It's racist officers in there too.
Yeah, I believe that. I
So
believe that
it's the
100%.
worst. Yeah. So it could go from he's really protected, he gonna make it over to court, high profile, or you might hear a story, something happened, he might come to court, bumps or bruises, he got into a fight, supposedly, all kind of things. And he's 17.
Yeah, yeah. You on mute, James? We can't hear you.
My
Oh
fault.
wait.
I said I'm gonna get some breaking news
No,
here
that's you,
because
James.
yeah, I'm pushing all the buttons back here, brother. Remember, I'm just the
And
wizard
it's scary.
behind the
And he in a
curtain.
state that's normally racist. That
Yeah.
so it's really scary for him. His mentality right now, man, it's he might not even be getting different phone calls, able to talk to family right. He might be totally isolated. And then you start to hear things that's not there. You start to see things that's not there. The cell is maybe just the size of this chair that I'm sitting in, going back to a shirt you see right behind me. I could actually touch that. And the walls are
Yeah.
just right there.
Okay. So
So
I
you
mean,
can
so
kind
right there, right. So let's get back to the representation and who's going to be handling this case. And again, I apologize for interrupting, but I'm getting some more information here from my wife, and this is about the Lee Merritt situation. This update was on his social media. It's been taken down since. He says, "I do not represent any party involved in the fatal incident that occurred in Frisco, Texas." After a posting pointed out the huge disparity in the bond amount of Carmelo Anthony compared to other alleged homicides in the region. We talked about that too,
exactly,
right?
exactly.
I was asked by the Anthony family to remove, and our consult was canceled. Prayers for all involved. So that post has actually been removed as well, and that's kind of the background of that. So, who is going to be looking after this young kid sitting in that situation that you're talking about right now? Come Monday, when he's supposed to appear before a judge, because they're going to try to reduce his bond.
But see, man, right there. Now that just pissed me off when you just said that. Why is he charging the family to go defend him? Defend him? Like, why would his counsel even charge, bro? Like, let's be real. Like, this
Talk
is his
about it.
life and death
Let's talk about it.
situation
Again, these are the
of an
conversations that
African
we need to
American
talk about.
male, and you already freaking made millions of dollars on other cases you made. You mean you can't have your counsel do this pro bono to help this young man out? At least get his bail hearing down instead of pull out.
Man.
And this
Let's
stuff is
let's
coming
just be
out left and
freaking
right,
real.
brother. Right? This stuff is coming out left and right, and it's no one, like you said, no one's winning here.
Nobody, but
There's not a
it's that.
positive
So
aspect to this.
Montel, it's that crab mentality. Think about crabs in a bucket.
Wow.
Unfortunately, with African Americans, a lot of times when we make it up, instead of pulling other people up, you got people steady pulling us down. You're not trying to help the others get out of the bucket,
I hear you. I do hear you, and
and
I
you might be
understand that
scared to
mentality.
go
But I'm
in with
saying,
that type of a bond first coming out, that type of a bail. He and I mean, I ain't making no excuses. He already know how the system is. He represented multiple people. In his mind, is something else going on with that type of a bail. But help the young brother. Don't be scared of it. Don't be afraid of it. Go
yeah,
help.
man. I mean, dude, like that's another disappointing. Like, why wouldn't you in that situation? Like I said, your counsel's already made millions of dollars. They've made it before. Why can't you do this pro bono, at least to get his bail hearing down to a reasonable amount to help? Because I tell you right now, situation was reversed. I know I forgot the dude's name, Ludenhauer or whatever the guy, like we said, they shot those kids, those people. What's his name? He had lawyers begging at his door to let him out.
Yes.
And his mom and daddy wasn't rich. His mom wasn't rich, but he had representation. Fine representation. Why does it, man? These are one of the situations. Why does it always gotta be about money?
Mhm.
It shouldn't have to be about money, man. It should be about right and principle and doing right by somebody. Like just all you gotta do is go in there and just go through his bail hearing. And then guide him through the counsel what he needs to look for at that point. It doesn't have to be something that's real extensive. If you get him through the bail hearing and you get a better understanding of what's the case going on, you can tell that brother and that family what they're looking towards. These are the charges, and explain it to them in a way they can understand instead of pulling the freak out. Like, come on, man. Even if it is an expense on your part, like that to me, man, that's just BS. I hate that. I freaking hate it because it makes no sense to be in that situation. And like you said, the Al Sharptons and the Ben Crumps of the world. So you only gonna defend us when we get lynched or killed or something like that, but we can't defend a brother that's fighting for his life
It's a valid
in a
question.
situation that by law he is right. By the definition of the law, he's absolutely 100% right. Now, is there other things going on? Possibly so, but by the definition of law. So you can't come to their aid and be there with his family and give your freaking press conferences and get all your tweets there and say you're going to be by that family side or help that family raise money to get a feasible lawyer that they trust, that they know that can explain to this young man and his family what is exactly about to go on and what's happening. I don't know, man. I don't mean to be on no high horse to be talking like that. That just pisses me off.
No,
That's just
this is
unfair.
an emotional conversation that needs to happen. And we again, we always talk about getting uncomfortable, having uncomfortable conversations. There is not, and again, there's no answer. There's no positive side to any of this because both sides have lost someone, literally and figuratively. And then, I always talk about the domino effect. Everyone that's around it that's affected by this as well. The family, the extended family, the friends, the girl who
Man,
probably thinks that she's partly responsible for this altercation happens, right? We don't even know that. I'm just assuming that. I mean, but that whole thing right there, she may need to have someone talk to her to make sure that she's good.
yeah, but I mean, but I'm saying we're talking about a different spot. That's the actual case. We're talking. Let's pull one step behind them. We're talking about okay now, how's this young man supposed to be helped, right? I know entertainers and rappers or whatever they don't want to attach their name because it gives them planned publicity. Who gives a rat's ass about that
Mm.
situation? They don't want to attach it or they don't want to attach their money to it because they don't want to look bad in the situation and defending somebody just like that. Which is funny because other people would defend other people and don't have a problem saying it, other races and other cultures. So they don't want to attach their name to it. Okay, that's fine. But you can go outside and around and get the young person help. And I'm saying get him help to the point where he understands and his family understands legally the scenario they're in. Like they can legally tell him, look, man, you're gonna be doing a year in here before we can get this case even go to trial.
Yeah.
Look, man, look, your family's gonna be going through this. Look, this is how much I'm not gonna charge you, but this is probably how much the council's gonna charge you. We got to figure out how you're going to be able to do this and maneuver from this. And this is all you have to pay. You don't have to pay this full amount. You don't have to pay this much amount. This is what the lawyer should be telling you and how advising you what's going on. Like, where the freak is that help? Because I'm telling you, him being a 4.0 student at 17 years old, he's never been through the legal system or probably has any idea how it works or anything about it. So now we're setting he's not even going to get in my opinion, right now, he's not even going to get the proper defense he needs or have the proper knowledge to get the right defense for him to go into this case. So
we gonna find out Monday. We're gonna find out Monday because we gonna follow this. We're gonna find out Monday.
Yeah, but the dude already pulled out, man. I mean, or he doesn't, or he's removed himself from and his counselor from it. Like that's some punk ass shit to me, bro. That's like foul. That's punk. That's some bullshit. Because I believe if I'm in a situation to be able to help, whether I
Montel is in a hotel, so he's having some issues with connectivity. But I want to bring up Lee Merritt's latest post on Instagram. All right,
Okay.
he's trying to give comforting words, trying to give words of encouragement for both sides and all of that. I'm not going to read it. Y'all can follow it. I'll put a link in the description if you want. But all these angles and all these aspects of this story, right? It started out as a social impact of sports story because it happened at a sporting event, and Montel and I covered it, wanting to get into that. Then it turned more into a culture story, right? Again, we got another young black kid going down for something, whatever it is something. And then as it got more and more into the details, there's more light on both sides of the story. There's more light on right, and then now we got a GoFundMe or a Go whatever for 300,000, 450,000. People are up in arms on both sides. We got prominent lawyers within the African American community either pulling out and saying they don't want to represent, they don't want to give services without. You got close to $400,000 and you can't pay. Okay, right. So that's in and of that self as well. James, where we at? Where we at with
our
this?
mentality too. So let's go back to psychologically, man. So is it really a time when we finally gonna just come together? I mean, really come together as a culture for our people, especially when in need. I was running a group once when I was working at a different prison. I was in Wasco, but so one of the brothers in the class, he got up and he said, man, said to the message, how come the officers in here always mess with us 10 to 20 times more than you? I was about to answer it, but the little Mexican dude, he still said, no, I got you, Holland. He said, because when we come into prison, we actually are together. And let me explain. When we out of prison, 19th Street may be fighting with 13th Street. Northerners is the Southerners, and so on and so on. When we come to prison, we all under one and stay together. You guys, you got Crips over here, Bloods over here, Northern California over here, unaffiliated here. You guys are separated, so it's more areas that they even have to watch. And he said, we take it a step further. As soon as we walked out of the classroom, we went into the yard. He said, look at the yard. Look how it's separated. You guys are there. You guys are there. You guys are there. You guys are there. Look at where we all at. Like, if we all came together and always helped each other out, it'll be a different story.
Imagine that. Why can't we get along, get together outside of them walls?
That's true. But it's the mentality. It's again, it go back to what have I been taught? What do I know? Do I stand up and fight? Do I just take this? Do I be quiet? I'm still really vocal, and even at the prison I'm at now, still vocal, and they know it.
Let's do this. I want to be, like I said, I want to be cognizant of your time. What's the message that someone in your shoes, in your perspective, in your counsel, tells both families today? Tells both families and really both communities as well, right? What is counsel that you can give to help us get through today, tomorrow, next week, next year, all of that? Again, from your professional seat, if you don't mind me asking.
So, my message would be through something called dialectical behavior therapy. So, using mindfulness, um, where it's okay to release emotions that you have, being mindful about what you're feeling, what you're understanding. Um, when a situation happens like this, you want to actually see it, you want to feel it, you want to experience, and still let it go past it by. You don't forget it, but be true with what you're feeling. So if I'm feeling sorrow, if I'm feeling sadness, if I'm upset, it's okay to feel it because they're all emotions. Joy, happiness, sadness, anger, it's all emotions. So I don't want to bottle that up because then I'm going to explode hearing a word that might not be right. I hearing a situation that wasn't true, um, prejudging everything because all I am right now is just in my emotions. I'm just going to explode in my emotions. You got another side where some people might just look at things and they really believe some facts of a situation and they're using just a rational state of mind. But you want to put the two together, the rational state with the emotional state, so you can use your wise mind. So you got the facts, you got the emotions, and now I can really put it together, be calm about it, and make a positive decision. Um, I'm not just jumping off and believing this or believing that. I'm really looking at everything, but for yourself, it's okay to feel what you're feeling. It's okay to go through those emotions, and now we can work through it to get past this trauma and come out of with a better situation. For the victims, you never you're never gonna lose the memory of your loved one. You're gonna keep going. You're gonna keep that person in mind. You're gonna keep that person in the forefront every time something remind you of them. A birthday come around, you're gonna remember some good times, and then you're gonna remember, unfortunately, even this terrible situation. Um, it's okay to express it. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to understand it. Get support. You're gonna have to have a whole lot of support. You just can't do it by yourself. And then the same thing with him, to me, again, a victim as well, what he's going through in their family. They can't even walk out the house right now. Um, it's understandable. It might be some times when you're just sitting at home, you by yourself, nobody else around, and you just want to scream or yell. It's okay to do that. Get support. So my biggest message for both sides is the support. You got to have some really strong support, whether it's a therapist you can talk to, whether it's family members. The support for both sides right now is going to be really, really important. And again, to use your wise mind, so put the facts and the emotions together because you don't just want to go off of one or the other. So even when you got people that's using just a rational state of mind, so if you see me get up, go out my door, open it from this side, just looking at the facts, you think, okay, ooh, James went up there, he opened the door and it opened, and he did it himself. But you're not looking at it. Could have been some other option. It could have been already a little bit open. The wind could have blew it. Somebody else could have turned it. So you want to look at everything, be in a good, rational, and emotional state of mind to move forward.
Hmm.
One or the other is really going to make a terrible situation. So for both sides, my main message is to get that support, have some positive people around you to keep moving forward because both sides is going to need that. Kind of like earlier what Montel said, the father of the son that doesn't, I mean, other the child that doesn't have a life anymore, he's not coming out the way that you hear and see some other people.
Yeah.
Just going racist and just targeted. We need to do this. We need to do that. That's one thing I'm worried about and concerned of with him being in there. Them coming after him like that. Um, it's support and positive support, and you just don't want to have those emotions really build up where you explode. Somebody go the wrong way, and then we got some more traumatic situations happening. But really get some strong support. would be that main message for me.
Montel, what you got, man?
No, I
I
got
don't know.
zapped off.
Yeah, you did. Well, every time we get into these discussions, it's either the CIA, FBI, PG&E. So somebody pulls somebody's cord, but we still on
Yeah,
all the channels. We got a gang of folks on multiple channels. Handful of
no,
comments, but I
yeah.
understand it's a tricky
It's a
conversation.
slippery slope.
Right. So
I
some folks may
believe.
not didn't want to comment, and that's all good. Just as long as you were here and you were feeling the conversation. I like what Kevin Cox put out there. Let's make sure we show some love for the gentleman having these deep conversations. Appreciate you for putting that out there, man. Monta, go and say something in closing, man, because there were a
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
bunch of other stories, but this mattered and we needed to have this conversation.
absolutely. I think the community of Frisco, Texas, is going to have a lot of things to build. Build off of this. I believe. I mean, there's no good thing about this situation. I feel sorry for the young man, Mr. Anthony. Either way it goes, if he goes to jail, obviously I feel very sad about him. And that if he gets out of jail, life will never be the same for him ever again. Whatever he was thinking his life was going to be at that point is going to be completely different now, based on the scenario. Not just the activity of him defending himself or a crime, whichever way is being seen. Just him living in that community and what he's done, and the fact that social media has blasted it all out there and all this. His life will never, ever, ever be the same. And I don't know if his family could even survive that. My prayers go out to both families, not one side, both families. I wish them nothing but my praise. I pray them for strength. I pray for them to have patience. I pray for them to be able to somehow be able to way to rationalize this thing, and hopefully people can move forward on both sides. Um, this is not an easy conversation, and I think there's so many facets to it that can be involved in this, from us just discussing it, community support, community disengagement, community not supporting, people
Mm.
outside the community not supporting and disengaged, and so on and so on. And on top of that, the media and social media, it's just a snowball effect that I don't know how it's going to affect the outcome of the case, or affect those people, the victims of way of surviving, and trying to get through this. So, all we can do is pray for them at this point.
Yeah, that's huge because
Yeah,
already racism with the judge to give $1 million bail.
we got that in a lot of cases. You know that already, but
Yeah,
yeah, I don't understand that. That's a capital thing. They just got an uphill battle as far as defense is concerned, and I don't have an answer for it. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a person. I'm just a person that has an opinion. Um, and I wish, like I said, other people that are in that field, I wish they would step up and help, especially people that are very successful in there. Money's not an issue, but they know the law very well to be able to, like I said, just provide the power of no to that family. Like, this is,
you
you
know
got to
what? And I
Mm.
take
understand,
it
no.
a step further because you two gentlemen, you guys do more than just talk. You got businesses that's helping our community raise into a different level. So hopefully it's more than just talk with this case, and that family get the help. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
it's a lot of things you got to do behind the scenes. You got kids that because of you too, are professionals either in sports or either got a job where they can take care of their family, and they got you guys to thank them for it because you keep going. You're not just talking about it, you actually living it and doing it. That's one thing that got to happen. We got to keep getting more individuals like you too to keep moving forward so we can keep raising ourselves up too and get through these situations.
I appreciate that, man. Yeah,
Appreciate you,
I think
brother.
we just kind of do our part. Yeah, I think we're just doing our part to try to bring awareness and provide help. Um, yeah, man. Again, I hope somebody could step up and get that family the power. No, and on both sides, the victim, I hope
That's right.
somebody steps up and give them the power, understanding, and know, and give them the space that they need to grieve and how to move forward and how to deal with this situation. Because, bottom line, uh, Karmelo Anthony's not going to be the only one on trial here. That family's going to be on trial. They got to go. They're going to go through every step of the way, seeing if it's a conviction or if he's innocent. They're going to be a part of this whole year to year and a half long situation as well. and they got to go through it and mourn every time it comes up about their son or their brother,
Mm-hmm.
their cousin, and so on and so on. So it's a lot to digest, man. And I don't know if all you guys, I've been victim of someone close to my brother was killed when I was young. So I know how that feels. I know how that situation is. I know exactly. I go through the anger, the revenge, the remorse, the pity, and the cycle goes all over again on certain
That's right.
triggers and situations. So I pray for both sides of the family. But people out there that are fans of Team No Sleep, thank you guys for always joining us. We are, like I always say, check up on your loved ones always. Um, we're coming up on Easter, man. So get ready for Easter Sunday and say your prayers, get that all out the way, and then continue to join us having those uncomfortable conversations because that's how we learn.
That's it, man. You good too, Mr. Holland? We gonna let you
Yes,
go.
sir, man.
Next time you
All you know.
here, we gonna have a little different kind of conversation. We gonna talk. We gonna have some jokes or
Oh, that's
something.
right, man.
My
Nah,
God, we
any
gonna raise the
conversation good
level.
for me, my brother. I love it.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, y'all. We appreciate it. If y'all found value in this, let us know. If you did not find value in this, still let us know. Like Montel said, man, we just here having uncomfortable conversations, just trying to rise above the noise. We see y'all next time. We out.
Montel and James, bringing the heat. Team No Sleep with champions meet. We're on the mic, taking over the game. No time for rest, no screaming for fame. Talking sports, breaking it down from the court to the field. All around town, we stay up all night, grinding on the mic, bringing news.